Hello there, Scorpio. Let's do a love tarot reading, especially because Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and I feel like seeing what kind of energies you guys are going to be dealing with leading up to Valentine's Day. And I am not surprised. I am not surprised that the Devil card has come out. You know why? Because I just did your free TikTok reading, and you guys were dealing with somebody who was absolutely lustful, absolutely interested in intimacy in a very sexual way. And we are jumping into this reading for Scorpios, and it is the same dynamic. Let me pull just two more cards out, and then we will get into what's happening here. Okay, let's see. Ooh, this person is keeping something to themselves. And then, I knew it. It's the same card. I'm not even kidding, you guys. I'm not even kidding. Go over to TikTok, watch my Scorpio video. I can't help it. I shuffled right in front of you. It's the same thing. The King of Swords in the reversal. The King of Swords in the reversal is the card of barbarity and perversion. You match that up with the Devil, and I swear to you, you guys are dealing with somebody who has a perverted aspect to themselves. You know, when this kind of energy comes out and I'm doing a personal private reading for somebody, they always get taken aback when all of a sudden I look at them, I'm like, your person's got a kink. Your boyfriend or whoever it is you're dealing with, that person has a spicy energy. The thing is, though, is when it's in the reversal position, again, it knocks on the door of barbarity. So it can be somebody who really kind of overdoes it and needs to figure that shit out. Pardon my French. It can be somebody who, with the Devil card, has addictions, is interested in objectifying intimacy way too much because it's a lot of self-gratification. Remember, the King of Swords, this gentleman here, he's the military leader. I don't know if you know anything about military operations, but when you have a military leader, they go for what they want and they try to get what they want by all means necessary. And because of that, the King of Swords can be a very dominant individual. Now, when it's not a kink, it becomes perversion in the sense of oppression. Because again, this is a military leader we're talking about. And looking at the Devil card, he's the best of the best when it comes to oppression. Quite literally. He's the king of demonic oppression. And so we have two cards that deal with somebody who seems a little oppressive. They feel very dominant. Now, again, this is a reading about what energy is unfolding leading up to Valentine's Day. I don't necessarily want somebody, for your sake, to be kind of stepping on you, because the Devil and the King of Swords has that tendency. It's my hope in looking through the rest of this reading here that this very dominant or even oppressive, or sometimes with the King of Swords, someone with a foul mouth even, or even a bitter mouth, I don't want them to just continue that energy for the entire time and not have any transition or change. What I do like is the High Priestess. This is a card that talks about, well, you know what? I'll tell you from a historical position, she actually wins out over the Hierophant card. The Hierophant is called the card of the Roman Catholic Church. It's a card of a pope or a priest, right? So it's easy to understand how that connection is there. But the High Priestess is known as the true temple. So we've got this false dogmatic rule system in the Hierophant card. And then we've got this one who represents the real Church of God. And her job in the history of tarot is to kind of whoop the ass of the false rules and an authority system, the kingdom of the Roman Empire. Now, how do we take that story from the macrocosm of its historical lesson into the microcosm of your life? And with the High Priestess here, because she's the one who's supposed to take somebody and guide them spiritually to the truth, then there could be an energy for this person that they are going to have to face some kind of Ace of Swords, communication, or light, or path that leads them to a better dynamic than this oppressive energy that they're in. Now, I want you to look very closely here. This is really fantastic. Most people miss this. Do you see these little flickers here? If you think those are little flickers of light, could be. If you think those are little flickers of flames, could be. What this is, these little images are the smallest letter of the Hebrew alphabet, the yod or yot or jot. It depends on what dialect you're speaking in. But if you've ever read concepts within biblical traditions, you might have heard of phrases like there's a verse in the Bible that says, no jot or tittle shall be changed, right? The jot and tittle concept, again, they say that these are the smallest little letter systems or depictions in the Hebrew alphabet, and the tradition goes that all other letters came from these little sparks. Now, that's if you're reading tarot from a Kabbalistic perspective, and that definitely can be a way to read them, according to Arthur Edward Waite. But Arthur Edward Waite did both Christian mysticism, Kabbalistic understandings, and the stories that came from earlier Christian mystics like the Albigensians, who were inherently opposed to Judaic Christian, modern Judeo-Christianity. So you've got groups of people who think that all sparks that could lead a person could come from this Hebrew alphabet. And then you have older Christian concepts that say that the spark of life was divinely given inside of us as the Holy Spirit. And these little sparks led a person to their victory and their peace. So, whichever way you look at it, whether you want to read it from a Kabbalistic perspective and talk about the Ruach, the Holy Spirit, or whether you want to talk about ancient Christianity, the Holy Spirit, and Sophia, the Divine Feminine, both of them are doing the same thing. They are essentially, again, the history of these cards from the macrocosm to the microcosm is that this person is being led to gain a sense of knowledge. You will likely experience this as a byproduct because whoever it is you're interested in here is going to go through a transformation. The High Priestess promises the transformation, and the Devil card is the card of temporary bondage, which means if this person has qualities to them that are connected to the carnal body, like, again, being rough around the edges, over intimate, overeating, over gluttonous, over sexual, issues with objectification, obsession, those aren't going to last forever. The Devil card is about temporary situations. These cards, like these two here, that's, the Adam and Eve motif in the Garden of Eden. They are bound with chains connected to them. And in the Lover's card, they are released from their imprisonment. They are released from that particular garden to gain a sense of knowledge. So when we say, what is it that this person is going to be learning about, or what is it that you're going to be experiencing leading up to Valentine's Day, I would say with the Ace of Swords, there's some kind of transformative knowledge that's going to be coming in for you that will assist in the breaking of the authority that this person has, or the breaking up of the brutality or oppression that this person exists in. Again, he is the King of Swords in the reversal. He's connected to perversion, barbarity, depravity. So if somebody has a really nasty habit, that habit's going to get kicked in the teeth. I'll be quite frank. Now, the centerpiece energy here I haven't mentioned yet. This is the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands is the card of the Palisade. And if you don't know what a palisade is, I swear if you watch enough of my videos, by the end of every time I speak to you guys, you will know what these cards mean. You will walk away from tarot readings learning about tarot cards in ways that modern tarot readers don't usually talk about. Like, we really do go into the meanings of these cards, and I paint the pictures for you guys so that they ingrain themselves as archetypes into your mind. Little bit of, what do you call it? Mentalism. And I admittedly say that I want you guys to understand these cards. The palisade, if you looked at a medieval castle or a fortress in the Middle Ages, all them beautiful stones built up somewhere on some high hilltop, you will notice around a lot of the fortresses in the Middle Ages, there were these big, sticky, spiky sticks that were acting as a barrier on the outside of those castles. Those are called the palisades. They are a defensive barrier, right? So in the upright position, which you do have this card in, this insinuates that either your person is very defensive or you had to defend against this person because of the way that they were handling themselves. For some of you, that includes in a relationship. And I'll be quite frank, that doesn't seem like the healthiest of dynamics in a relationship. You could have been dealing with somebody who was volatile to be quite frank, with the King of Swords and the Devil card. It's no wonder you would have to protect against that. And especially if you're already in a dynamic where you've separated from someone, this could be someone who, again, at the minimal, has a bad mouth, a foul mouth, and saying things that were like hurtful. And at the worst end of it, unfortunately, could be quite barbaric and depraved and have a problem with some kind of intimacy that they have, or could be volatile, right? Either or, but there's a reason to protect yourself in this dynamic. And perhaps, again, they had a sentiment of having their walls up. But this card was in the reversal, though. I want to mention that. Because then, sorry, I'm stuttering. It then doubles down on adversity and obstacles. This card specifically means that you'll experience somebody who is adversarial instead of relationship worthy. And it will present almost like within the relationship that there is a challenge that needs to be dealt with. The challenge, you overcome the challenge because the Ace of Swords is in the future position. You're victorious against this challenge, but it certainly does feel like untangling, quite a difficult situation. Also, a reminder that the Nine of Wands precedes the Ten of Wands, which means there may be a point where someone is going to have to take the heavy burdens that they're dealing with and lay them down. Like, it will have to change. Again, the High Priestess promises that something will change. Usually the High Priestess, because she is the one who tears down the Hierophant card, you know how she does it? Through the Tower card. The tower that crumbles down. So there could be in the future, not leading up to Valentine's Day quite yet, but in the future, I'm just saying there could be a bit of Tower moment energy with the High Priestess here battling through so much of this difficulty. Ultimately, the good thing about this is you do have victory. So if someone is behaving poorly, if someone does have depravity, or if somebody is objectifying at the very least, and they're kind of dealing with self-gratification way too much, especially in terms of intimacy, that's going to be resolved. You'll find victory in that, where there will be a sense of respect that starts to come out in the relationship. That's the key right there. A concept of genuinity, integrity, dignity, and respect is likely to be how you experience this kind of victory in the future. I'm going to leave you off with that. Thank you very much for joining me here, Scorpios. And again, like I said, if you want to check out your other readings on TikTok, it's phenomenal how interconnected this reading seems to be to that one, even though I shuffled and shuffled. Heck, I even did the Libra reading in between this. I shuffled so many times, and yet here we are again, talking about a very specific situation that I wish you all the best in. Many blessings to you, and ciao for now.